Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, ANITA FINLEY.
Okay, so I'm very excited to have Jon Ahlbum here with us. Jon Ahlbum has his wonderful Ahlbum Insurance Group, United American, right?
Yes.
You know, all these companies coming up with the word United first, United American Insurance, something that I've been a member of for a long time. And I'm very glad that you're here in our, in our studio today, Jon, because Medicare, we see this in the news. Everyone's frightening everybody about Medicare.
Yes.
And I'm glad you're here. So welcome to our show.
Thank you for having me.
So do you get calls from a lot of the people who you have as clients about this?
Quite a few. There are changes going on or about to go on, and there's some misunderstanding on some of it. Like the Plan F, which you have. Anybody who becomes eligible for Medicare, first time eligible after January 1st, 2020, can't buy a Plan F. Brain in Washington had the idea that if the plan pays for the deductible, which is $185 a year, that everybody is going to run to the doctor January 1st because the deductible's already paid. So if they take away the plan that pays the deductible, people won't rush to the doctor.
Oh, that's sad, isn't it?
It is. It just
terrible.
Makes no sense. And it's a very popular plan, but the plan will stay. I mean, anybody who's eligible for Medicare up until midnight on New Year's Eve is going to be able to get a Plan F forever. And even if they don't opt in for it right away.
Do you have, and I'm sure you do, you have a big association. It's not a union, but you have a big association that has lobbyists and work on all that.
Well, there's the Medicare Rights, and they're based in Washington, and then there's the Center for Medicare Advocacy, which I think is more of a active fighter, and then there's all of the different insurance companies have lobbyists or belong to groups that have lobbyists, but there's more and more groups spreading, or growing because there's more and more people on Medicare.
Right, and of course, with what we read in the news or we see in the news about Medicare for All, and
that's scary.
So many things out there that people don't know, and it's I think what happens, the reason for a lot of that is that people need insurance.
Yes.
And if they're not getting insurance, they're just grasping at whatever they can get, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't know if you have a young son, but so what have you told him about long-term health care, about insurance? I mean, and he's in the business, so he probably knows a lot, but...
Yeah, he's as knowledgeable as I am.
Yeah, and so people who aren't, though, they have to get it from where? Where should they go to get the information besides calling you and having you consult with them?
We try to, sit down with people and just do educational visits as well as, sales calls, because I feel that our business is kind of threefold. First is educating, helping people know what Medicare is and what their options are. B, we do, if they want a supplement or something, we can help them with that. And three, the last word I just said, help, is that those are the educate, sell, and help, whichever order you want to put it in. But that's
Medicare. This is a different baby.
There's probably 15, 18 choices of companies.
Oh, in Florida.
Mm-hmm. Some of the other states there's fewer because there's fewer seniors.
Right. So, of all those companies, are they similar to yours? What makes a difference?
I think what makes a difference to me, my feeling with United American, is that United American is an agent sold policy, meaning that you have an agent when you first start out, and you always have an agent. You don't go to a customer service that you call if you want to change your policy or something. You're always redirected back to your original agent or to the original agency that you...
Right, because sometimes an agent leaves or something happens. And so, and that's what your company does, and you love that. But other companies, not all of them do that.
A lot of them don't. A lot of them, the minute, sometimes an agent will sell somebody a policy, but the minute the policy is issued, he's gone. He can never get a hold of him again. Everything is directed to a customer service representative, and sometimes they're even out of the country. So
and is he or she still receiving commission?
I don't know on some of these companies whether they do or not.
Yeah, that's what
I know with United American, the agents get commission, and they're encouraged to service their clients and stay with their clients, and that's how we get referrals, and that's how we get,
of course,
everything grows, and it's plus you feel good when you, at the end of the day, you've helped 2 or 3 people solve the problem for somebody, or corrected a mistake or something else,
Yeah, it's a very big mixed-up problem. Before you got into, and I don't know, I'm sure I've asked you this question before, but I got to thinking about it. What made you get into the insurance business? It wasn't that your father was in it, was it? I don't remember.
No, I got into it because my wife died, and I had young children home, and I needed a industry that I could change my day in a heartbeat. If I woke up in the morning and one of them had a fever and couldn't go to school or couldn't go to daycare or whatever, and insurance just seemed to be, basically you're self-employed, but I could call ANITA and say, could we change our appointment to tomorrow?
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically how I got
How you started, and how did you happen to choose United American?
Well, I struggled around at the beginning, as you all were agents, United American. So I got licensed with them and started with them, and just then went out on my own and
realized it was a very good good place. So that looked out for you. But it's not easy. I mean, let's just face it. People are shopping all the time, so I'm sure you get calls, and then you don't know who you're competing with. And even though you're so nice and so smart, some people are very strange. It seems like they.
And there's a lot of misconception, and there's a lot of bad salespeople who don't tell the truth or other things, and so you run up against that from time to time too. But it's
But the big thing, I think, when they changed, when people were buying HMOs or are buying HMOs, originally you bought an HMO and they could sell you another company the next day and then another company the next day. I do remember my father who was buying this one month and then the next month and then the next month. So I think what they did to control that was better, don't you?
Yes, they put the lock-in in. What happened was they were having like lunches once a month.
Right.
And when people would go to have their free lunch, they'd sign a sign-in form that they thought was just putting their name down, but they were actually signing an application.
Oh, no kidding.
And they went from company A to company B, and when they went to the doctor, he said, "You're not on the plan that I work with anymore, so I can't treat you. You got to find a new doctor." And they didn't know that they weren't.
So it was really falsely done.
So that's when they put the annual enrollment period and the lock-in and everything else. And
it's not convenient for people, but on the other hand, I guess it does serve the purpose of not being crazy.
Yeah. And it also gives them a chance to see if they like the plan or if they want to get back to regular Medicare instead of turning over their Medicare to an MA plan.
Right.
And it gives us a chance to show them why we think the supplement is so much better than the MA plan.
Right, I was going to just say, because you would never consider working for one of those companies or having them even in your stable.
Exactly.
No, because it's a very different animal, isn't it?
It is.
It's a lot of insecurity, I think, that you never know. As you say, this one company just bought out this other company, and you don't even know who you're insured with.
And then the other problem is too that the doctors, they either get upset and terminate or don't renew their contract in the middle of the year, or they get terminated in the middle of the year because they're giving too good service in some cases. And so all of a sudden, hundreds of people have to go find a new doctor.
Yeah.
And then they find that they can't go see the specialist they want to see, or
Right.
they can't go to this hospital they want
Right.
to go to. And
Well, United American must have been in business many, many years, so they must have tested out what they do, that they do allow wonderful benefits, and they do pay fast, and people really who are on there, as I am, are very happy. But how about, when you think of it, how can they do this and be so superb? I mean, how do they not lose money doing this?
Medicare has a guideline where your company is supposed to operate with a 65% claims loss ratio, meaning that 65 cents on every dollar they take in goes to claims.
Oh.
So the 35 cents on the dollar stays, and that goes toward commission, goes toward overhead, goes toward profit, goes toward everything. If their claims loss ratio gets too low, that means they're overcharging and they've got to lower the rates. Or if their claims loss ratio gets up into the 85 or 90%, then they've got to all of a sudden sit down and do a rate increase to get it back somewhere around the 65% ratio.
I see. So it's really calculated, and so as long as you have good management and people are not stealing and they're doing
Right.
what they should do, it doesn't seem like it's a big deal.
And as long as you have agents that go out and look for good business as well as bad business, then you've got healthy people on the books as well as people with claims. You can never everybody on Medicare is at the age where you're undoubtedly going to have some claims. I mean, that's the whole point of it.
Right.
But there's a matter of managing the claims, and UA's been very, very good with their claims management.
I see. That's what it takes. It does. Right. Well, I've certainly never had any claims that have been denied, nor has my husband, because he had some very serious.
He did.
Very serious, and it was fine. I mean, and you all just took care of everything. But so it's really been a marvelous thing. So anyway, insurance is a big issue for people, but
It is today.
but the big thing are, of course, you're United American. We're talking for people over 65, right? What about you have insurance for people under 65?
We specialize just in Medicare supplements.
Oh, okay.
We used to do under 65 because United American had some, actually there were supplemental under 65 health plans that help pay deductibles and do things like that for the, major medical plans.
I see.
Then with the advent of Obamacare, most of those weren't allowed anymore. So they took them off the market. So we didn't have them. And we decided just to specialize and do nothing but Medicare supplements and become very, very good at one thing instead of being okay at a bunch of things.
I think that's a very good idea, right? And so you have, so how many United American reps are there down in South Florida? I mean, I only know about you, but every once in a while I hear about somebody else. And is there a limit?
There's no limit. I don't know how many agents there are. There's a lot. We've got over 250 across the country just with our agency.
Okay, but wait a minute. So that's the wrong word for me to say. It's not the agents. It's you have what kind of a company with United American? Is there a term that they have somebody like you? I mean,
we're a general agency.
That's what I meant. Oh, so it's a general agency. So my question should be, how many general agents from United American are in South Florida? A lot?
Quite a few. We're not the only one by any means.
I see. So they just want to make sure that agents are good, but they don't have a limit on how many.
Right.
Huh. Well, what I should tell people that's really important when you have insurance is to know the person that you can call and talk to. You can't just have a number and not know. Right now I have that with my life insurance. I have to talk to somebody, and it's just like calling, the general number. It's not a good idea. You feel like an orphan, and that's what they call you.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I attribute a lot of our success with the Ahlbum Insurance Group to the fact that we're there. One of the rules that I have is you return calls within that day, before the day's over. If you're going to stay late, if you're going to call somebody back from home, but call them back that same day, they want to hear from you. They wouldn't have called if they didn't have a reason to have a question and want an answer.
That's a good idea. It doesn't always happen.
It doesn't
Not with
always,
you.
right.
But it doesn't. There are times I have to just tell you, there's a big company, I won't name the name, and it's really a big company. And I've called, and the phone rings and rings and rings, and finally it says, all our personnel are on the other lines, leave your number, and we'll call you back. It's been 3 days. I've not been called back. And this is a very big company. And so someone said to me, why don't you go and start another, not another company, but a division, training people on the phone and what they should be doing. Well, of course, when you do that, then it insults the people who are supposed to be doing their job.
You're right.
And so it doesn't always work. But I like the fact that what you said, because they wouldn't call you. They don't ever want to call anyone in insurance. If they're calling you, it's because they have a problem they need to know about.
Or sometimes it's just a very simple question about, I'm going out of the country. How does the foreign travel work? I'm going to visit my daughter in New York. Am I covered? And things like that.
Well, since you brought up foreign travel, how does it work?
It's a separate part. It's one of the standardized Medicare supplement policies. Most of them have it on it as a rider. It's a separate deductible, and it will pay up to 80% after the deductible of what it would pay in this country. So if somebody gets injured in Turkey or something, and they pay for it, they bring the bills back, and they'll get reimbursed up to 80% of what Medicare would pay for the same procedure or operation or whatever in the U.S. And sometimes it comes out to 100% because it's whatever they had done there was less expensive than it is here.
I see. So, okay, so you're kind of sitting now, doing what you've been doing. You're waiting for any new legislation. Has the new taxes affected you at all in your company?
No, not that I've seen.
That's good, because a lot of people, a lot of CPAs and all, are just going through all this stuff, and they don't even know, I think, what's going on.
Yeah, they're tearing their hair out if they have any hair left.
Yeah, that's true. So that's something else that's not really that's not very good. But if you could do it all over again, would you want to be in the insurance business?
Yes.
It really has been fulfilling for you, and
it has,
and lucrative enough for you.
I've
to
made
do this.
an amazing amount of friends, including you.
Yeah, that's true.
And I've met people I never would have met in any other industry.
Right.
And just clients and agents together. And it's just the feeling of, yes, I helped her. Yes, I helped him.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Yeah. And you keep up with people then, apparently. Yeah. So you see a report that comes in, and then you call, and then you do some good PR.
Yes.
It's very important, and so many people don't do that. Let's talk about your website. And I haven't been on it lately, but your website. Well, let me give you some information for people listening. I think this is important. Let's go to the ahlbumgroup.com for more information on their website, ahlbumgroup.com. And it's Jon Ahlbum, JON AHLBUM. You may be talking to his wife, or you may wind up talking to his son, right? It's a whole family affair, as they say. And so you're actually a what we call a Medicare supplement company. Is that true?
We're a general agency that specializes in Medicare supplements.
Okay, that's good. So a general agency that specializes in Medicare supplements.
Mm-hmm.
But
and we're also members of the National Association of Medicare Supplement Advisors.
Okay, but you do have, you don't have other insurance. I mean, so you say Medicare.
No, all we do is just supplements.
Right.
And basically all we do is United American.
That's what I was going to say. So if you're interested in some other kind of insurance, don't call, right?
Right. Or we might be able to, give you a recommendation.
Or convince you that you're making a mistake, right?
Or we might know somebody that could help you.
Yeah, right. Well, it's, and I don't remember, do you have testimonies on your website from people who have really enjoyed what you do?
We have to do some upgrading on our website.
Okay. Because you should be bringing all these on YouTube, all these Facebook Lives onto your website. So do you don't have a website manager?
I do, and we do put the...
Oh, you do?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's good. Because that's how people really know language now. If there's something fantastic we could say, we could go viral, but I don't know what that is. We're going to give everybody a free insurance policy today, right?
There you go.
That'll go viral. No, well, we certainly, know that today, especially today, honesty, integrity in business is extremely important.
Yes, it is.
Because everybody is worried. They talk about false facts. They talk about things like that. But that's not what I see the Ahlbum Group doing. Your insurance group has always been very responsible. Everything's always taken care of just as you say it's supposed to be. And so I think says a lot about you and your company.
That's the way I was brought up. So that's the way I've kept it going. And that's the way I want to, I think every business should be like that. But unfortunately, they're not all like that. But
right. So what was your father's business?
He was my father was in the newspaper business. He was
Oh, I think you told me that once before.
Mm-hmm. And then my stepfather was in the Navy. He was in a 30-year submarine officer.
Oh, I could never be in a submarine for one day. No, that's 30 years. Oh, my goodness. That must have really been
Yeah.
That was tough. Have you ever been down in a submarine?
Once.
Did you not feel the same way?
Down wasn't bad. It was when we were up on the surface I got seasick.
But you didn't get seasick down underneath?
No, it was nice and smooth down below.
Really?
Yeah, you didn't even know you're moving.
Well, as you knew, my husband, of course, he was a B-17 pilot, and he just couldn't go into a submarine. He said claustrophobia. He wouldn't not do that. So it's, in fact, I heard that the fleet was down in my Fort Lauderdale a couple of weeks ago.
Really?
Yes, and they had the big ships in there and all. Right, I missed that.
I missed it too.
Yeah, because I love to go and see that. That's always exciting.
It is
when you're doing that. Support any big charities or do anything specific that you're happy about?
We support in different ways. We during the annual enrollment period, which is October through the middle of October through the middle of December, which is one of our biggest sales periods of the year, I donate $5 from every policy issued to charity. And this year we gave to the American Cancer Society, we gave to the Jimmy Fund in Boston, which is a children's cancer, and also to the Danny Thomas Hospital. And it was a considerable amount to each charity. Isn't
that nice? So you do that once a year?
Mm-hmm.
That's a nice way to do it. Now you know it's done and you feel good about what you've done and all. That's really...
And if they send me an email or a request ongoing that they're doing a drive or they need some extra help or something, we participate. But
yeah,
this is our big, and it's our goal to sell as many, policies as we can, because the more we sell, the more we're going to give to charity.
Right. So that's really very important. And of course I have to announce that John Ahlbum will be at the BOOMER Expo, which is coming up, and we just got our third big sponsor for this, and it's Certera, which is the cannabis I mean, they're just doing great, really. Everybody who's really ill now can find relief using this.
Yes,
it's
that's what I've been
marvelous.
reading.
Yeah, it's really true. And so they've just jumped in to be a big sponsor. Remember the seminal, the Baby Boomer, the 22nd Boomer Expo, and it's going to be on Tuesday, July the 23rd. And we're so happy that John Ahlbum and his group are always there, and they're always looking so nice, and they pay attention. Not all the exhibitors do that, and we're glad that you come. So, John, thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.